I've done everything properly. Hey! Yeah, and I know what's happening. I'm fully here and functional today.
Oh, I hear 2 caches.
Oh no!
It's
Oh
fine.
wait, because you
I
had...
forgot to mute the stream.
Okay. I
I'm
was...
seeing double. 4 caches.
Thought I had done something incorrect. Didn't know how to even try to approach that. What are we doing? What's happening? Dr. Boyfriend is a vampire now. He's Dr. Boyfriend Vampire. Dr. Vampire
loves it.
Boyfriend?
He's so happy
He's
to be
so
Dr.
stoked.
Boyfriend, Vampire Boyfriend.
We're stoked for him. Right, and we're trying to fight the disaster with a capital D?
Yeah.
But we have to make an antidote? What is the antidote for?
I don't know.
Oh.
He just decided he needed one, and he found a note that was like, go get some King Arthur blood and some other goblins. You got yourself a disaster antidote. So I guess he was just like, well, I might as well.
Perfect. Great. Wonderful. Delightful. Where am I going? I'm going the wrong way, is where I am currently going.
The game's suddenly going, just go get me these 3 items I'm thinking of. Does kind of seem endgame. I just needed the game to run a little bit longer. Anything that didn't have dialogue was considered for slow motion.
Jonathan, why did you pull out your big stick? I didn't tell you to do that. I told you to open the gate, buddy.
You didn't trust that cat.
Clearly. Is that a gunky
Oh, it's Gunk
wolf?
Dog.
Gunk Dog. Oh. I forgot how to play. It's fine.
Fine.
Gunk Dog. How did he make the bullets bounce backwards? I don't understand.
How did he do it?
My goodness. Dog, please.
Oh, that's not a well dog.
No, dog is
It's got lumps.
He's
Hey,
not
you remember
doing
he
great.
exploded?
I did. This will be the only time it happens. Past this, I will forget that they explode, and then I'll just stand there and be like, but where are my bits? Where are the things? Drop the things, guy! And I'll be very surprised when I get yeeted. We watered our plant too, didn't we? Back
I
at
think
the
so.
hospital. Who's talking? Oh, Louise. Did it? Didn't do anything, did it?
I don't think so.
Mm,
I don't remember anything
okay.
happening. Maybe you won't say, this plant needs water every time he walks past it now. Oh, hey, Smiley's
Maybe.
here.
Hi, Smiley. I love you too. Do the lurk thing. Do that lurk thing. Take care of yourself, friend. Happy to see
Smiley,
you.
I need some help with my Final Fantasy. If you know, if you're not busy.
You're an
It's
absolute
broken.
monster. An actual terror. A menace against all support workers. My god.
I'm still persona non grata in the Ascalon Club. If I want to speak with Lord Redgrave, I'll have to improvise.
Still haven't cleaned up, I see. What? Sorry.
Yeah!
That scared the shit out of me. I was not prepared. I should have known. Should have known they were gonna start yawning at me, but you
That's
know.
a big lad.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of blood in him.
Ugh. He doesn't hit particularly hard, though.
Yeah, but it's got 1,000,000 health.
Yeah, but his stamina sucks.
That's true.
Oh! The panic noise he made! This isn't gonna do much to him, but might stun him? Yeah!
Yeah, I did. That he didn't enjoy that.
No, he didn't.
I think that was fun for him.
And he's resistant to those kinds of attacks. I'm happy to see that that did as much as it did to him, because I was anticipating nothing.
He stole his tiny good handle pats.
Good. He didn't deserve them.
How could you?
Easy. I reached into his pocket and said, "These are mine." Not for you anymore, stupid vampire.
He said, "I'm taking those tiny good handle pats," and he said, "Yeah."
Okay, where the fuck is Redgrave? Bruh. This doesn't tell me nothing. Found him.
Oh.
Sup, bitch?
Good evening, Lord.
Give me
Redgrave.
your blood?
What are you doing here, traitor? I shall smite you for this audacity.
I'm not here to bicker, Lord Redgrave. I can put an end to this epidemic.
Whose blood are we
but
trying to
I need
get
your
from him?
assistance to do so.
Good. We've held out thus far.
I
But
don't
the
know.
time has come to put an end to this crisis. Tell me,
It's
what
not
do
a
you
name
mean?
I
The blood
recognize,
of William
even when it's on
Marshall.
screen.
Blood of William Marshall.
Oh, isn't that
Oh.
the guy
My
that started the
maker?
Ascalon?
Are you mad?
I guess
Like he
so.
His
founded
blood
the
is the
Ascalon Club?
purest of
Okay,
all.
this makes more sense.
My maker profited to me on the battlefield. I cannot hand it to you.
Well,
Stop this farce. Marshall never was your maker.
because
I
we
have
know, because
no idea
Bridget
how
told us.
you acquired his blood,
Yeah,
but
his
I
vampire
need it
blood
now.
is
I
ass.
see. Well, in that case,
Like
given the gravity of the situation, I suppose I can spare
D-
you
minus
the
tier
Thank you,
vampire
my lord.
blood.
trouble. If you
The
manage to
fact that
save
he
this
just
city,
said,
you'll prove
"Yeah, I guess
yourself a
you're
faithful
right."
servant of the crown.
Yeah.
So Godspeed, Dr. Reed. Our fate lies wholly in your hands.
Are we cool now?
Like, this dude should fucking die before ever admitting that he's
Right?
not actually cool and good at things.
I am. Yeah, they really sort of just like gave up at this point, huh?
Yeah.
It's a shame, really. It's down here.
Just had to stretch out a little bit more. Oh, they felt that.
Right?
Were this at the time when everyone were complaining that like games are too short?
Possibly. What is this? It doesn't matter. It's something from Redgrave. Yeah, it might have. Well, no. When did this come out? Like 2018? Has the discourse around games are too short ever stopped?
I don't know. It picked up a bit more
And like the mid-
around, early PS4 era.
yeah. I remember it
I-
being
I
big in like
don't know how time
2012
works.
and stuff like that.
Just
So
what video game console was out then?
valid, fair. So yeah, it would have been like early mid 2010s. This would be towards the end of it. I don't know. I don't know what their deal is. Maybe they all just got bored. They put all the good writing into like the side characters. And then they got to this point and they were like, do we
Like
have
this-
to?
This is really obviously just padding. It just
Yeah.
it's a real shame.
Yeah.
In like, I don't know, these kind of story heavy games, you really can't make them go longer than they want to go.
I don't. Yeah, I don't get the need to make a game long. I mean, like, is it strictly thought those were like, I don't know what I thought those were, but I didn't understand what it was. Is it strictly so that they can like slap the like $60 price tag on it and be like, oh, see, it's worth it because it's X amount of hours? Because if that's the case, that's silly. That's how much I'm gonna pay for my games anyway.
They do keep like increasing the price of a full price game, right?
Do they?
There's so
Have
much
they?
to develop.
At this point, I don't know. I don't know that I've purchased like.
Yeah, exactly. I don't buy games full price.
Yeah.
I haven't in ages.
And it's like the last couple of games that I've purchased at full price, I've always gotten like, it's always been like a pre-order and it's been like a deluxe edition or something. So I've paid more than what I think I would have to normally anyway.
I just buy everything on sale.
That's fair and valid. The main games that I'm thinking of were like Resident Evil and Dead Space and stuff like that. Those I had like pre-ordered because I was pumped for them. But yeah, for the most part, I'm just like, if it's under $15, I'll just instantly purchase it. Otherwise, I'm gonna wait for that shit to go on sale. I'm not made of money. I don't know.
I don't know. It annoys me because like actual like just number of hours to beat doesn't really mean shit if it's like a Ubisoft open world game. They kind of just game the system. It's like half an hour of content stretched over 100 hours.
Yeah. What
Destroy the Skull epidemic in London.
Yeah, alright, okay.
Oh, the origin.
Kicking boxes over here?
Tasty rat.
Do you have anything new to say about, like, literally
Have you
anything?
recent news of Aloysius Dawson?
He is dead, I've heard. I wish I
Aw.
was dead too.
Ma'am, I wish I could help you.
Maybe it's not okay.
I must go now.
No,
Goodbye, Miss Billow.
just having a bad time.
Oh, and the rats won't talk to her anymore. Right, probably 'cause she eats them.
Yeah. Maybe don't eat the rats.
Don't eat the rats. No, it's okay once or twice if you press the wrong button
It's an accident.
and accidentally do a job.
Listen, I just want to pick up the things. Where am I going? Further this way, and then to the right. We leave the Scowls alone. Ooh.
Oh no.
It's fine. We just ignore them.
Yeah, they're just wiggling.
Honking and wiggling, their favorite pastime.
So having a honk and a wiggle.
I love going out for a honk and a wiggle. Who's shooting things over here? Don't think I didn't hear that gunshot.
Who is gone?
Been up there? I want to see if there's bits in here. No, we've definitely been in here before. I vaguely remember this dead man on the floor.
Can we not, if we're gonna be staying here, can we not
No.
shift him? Or is it just part of the decor?
It's definitely a choice, a decorative choice.
It's like one of those like tiger skin rugs, except it's a man rug.
Manskin rug. We haven't talked to any of these people in a
Glad
hot
to see
minute.
you again, Mr. Reed.
Oh, it's the lady who's definitely 100% a serial killer.
Yeah,
Do you have recent news of Sean Hampton's shelter?
I love she.
Oh, okay. I asked her a question, she just nodded, and then we're moving
Are you
on.
worried about the sanitary situation in London?
There are rumors of
Understood.
infected people turned mad by the fever
Cool.
and roaming the streets, attacking everyone they see. Is it true?
As long as you stay away from the streets, you should be all right.
I hope you're right, Dr. Reed. We feel kind of left alone around here.
Goodbye, Miss
Right.
Paxton.
We do still have a couple of side missions to do, don't we?
Do we?
Where is it?
Maybe.
We have to finish finding all the braille.
Yeah, but it's not marked.
We have to
Neither's that one.
find-
Ugh.
Yeah.
We're just
I'm-
hoping we'd stumble on them.
Yeah.
We could look it up. if
Yes,
you want.
Doctor?
I'm kind of tempted to, just because, like, I am very invested in, like, the side quests.
Farewell, Sean.
Looking good, Sean.
Right. Hey, buddy. Have you considered cleaning up just a little bit? Just a tiny bit. Oh! Thing for Lottie. Hey! And for Giselle.
Glad to see you again.
Ma'am, I found
Lottie.
this note.
Tell me about the death of your mother.
Giselle killed her. Plain and simple.
Oh, jeez.
She killed her with her daily whims, her laziness, and her complaints.
Oh.
That's quite a statement. You can't kill someone because you're fickle.
Mother was very ill.
I would argue against that,
What I
Jonathan.
couldn't stand was how she cried at her funeral like she was the one left alone.
Perhaps your sister is not as tough as you are.
I know that, and I don't blame her. It just makes me sad that my own sister is the person I understand the least.
Giselle is the only family you have left. Don't you think it's time you forgave her?
Sometimes words are harder to forgive than acts, Dr. Reed.
Valid.
Goodbye, Miss Paxton.
I'm not here to tell you your business, Lottie. Where's Giselle? Ma'am?
Where is Giselle?
Where's she? Giselle? Oh, there's a lot of blood over there.
Probably just a jam accident.
Ah, there she is.
Ah, it's Giselle. I was worried Sean was at it again.
Yeah. There was a slight concern.
You again? What do you want?
I want to talk to you about the death of your
Giselle.
mother.
Tell me about the death of your mother.
After our father died, Mother worked so hard she made herself sick. We spent all the money we had on useless drugs and doctors. It was hell.
Hell? What do you mean?
The three of us were exhausted and desperate. And when I'm desperate, I tend to get angry. And I'm hard to live with. Lottie said I killed Mother.
You should talk to your sister. Whatever happened when your mother died, the truth lies somewhere between your two versions.
I don't want to talk about that. It was years ago. We Paxton sisters are tough. We don't apologise.
I never said you had to apologize, just that you should speak to each other.
Giselle,
But
I know
hey.
you sleep at Seanhampton's shelter. What can you tell me about
We
it?
say
He
as we
provided a
stand
roof
inside
for
of
me and my
Sean's
sister.
shelter.
I am grateful, of course, but he gives me the creeps.
Why is that?
He's always sad, like he's about to cry. He's always asking us to get closer to God, and to give ourselves to the Lord. Creepy.
So your beef is with
Well,
the
I'll leave
religious
you for now.
aspect of
Yeah.
things, not with Sean himself.
It's locked, all
Understood.
right.
It's not that he's like just a little bit dead. That's fine.
It's not that he eats people or anything. I wonder if they'll go in there and chat at some point. Possibly. Do I want to stand around and wait for that? Absolutely not. Alright. We go downstairs. You'd think the game would tell us when we get to the point of no return, right?
Yeah.
There was nothing in there.
Just a box.
Game, you made it seem like I should come down here? It's fine. It's fine. Whatever.
I am going downstairs now, everyone. Then you go downstairs, just open the box, and there's nothing there. Nothing else to do.
Just come on back upstairs. What is this? Oh, more packs and stuff. Okay, sorry. We are talking to them again. I thought I had done a pretty good job previously about looking through the area and picking up all the stuff, but apparently...
Tell me about the
Is
wet
this
boot
stuff
boys.
new?
I know
Ah.
they've threatened you.
Edwina Cox wanted me to provide her with information about Mr. Hampton's resources. I refused.
Is that not dangerous?
Fuck them and their lies.
Yeah,
They
fuck
claim they
them.
protect the interests of the neighborhood, but they're just greedy parasites like all the rest.
I love Lottie.
I respect your courage, Miss Paxton, and I hope life will never wear you down.
Dr. Reed, you know how to make a girl blush. I am glad you came to the docks, whatever your real reasons are.
Best friends now.
Goodbye, Miss Paxton.
There's Giselle, and
I like
there's Sean.
Paxtons.
Yeah! Pretty great.
Cool ladies.
Wish
Even
we
if
could
the-
see more of them.
You kind of need to talk about stuff.
You know, that's their business.
Yeah.
We encourage them to do a chat, and that's all we can do. I hope they can sort it out at some point. But yeah, meet ladies. What was that noise? Who's
What was
doing a
that?
stab around here?
Oh, sure, it's fine.
Wouldn't worry about it. You want to go this way? Where? How?
Huh.
I mean, that's gotta be in the sewers, right?
You think?
So how do we get
Yeah, it must be, right?
down there?
Can we go through the cellar, or is that locked now?
I think it's locked.
There's a few entrances, but I don't know where any of them are.
Yeah, same. wanna pick up his gunk. Well, that man melted.
Destroyed.
Oh wait, I think I know how to get there. I vaguely
Nice.
remember where we are. There should be like an entrance down under the dock somewhere.
Someone's hooking up a storm.
Right? There it is.
There you go.
I found it. Sometimes I know what I'm doing and where I'm going. Sometimes. Let's go. Just casually destroy all the skulls.
Yeah.
This is fine.
Are we just like erasing all skulls?
It's locked.
I am uncertain. On a scale of 1 to genocide, where does this fall?
Yeah, because we know at least one very nice skull down here. Please
Yeah.
don't make us turn all the switches again, go.
Think we're okay?
Maybe?
Wish I knew which direction I was supposed to go in. Or just a confirmation that this is the correct way.
We're getting closer to Y. Oh no, we got further away actually, but we're getting closer now.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I keep having to wander away.
Yeah. Where is Y?
Why? Are we doing it? Am
I cannot enter.
winning? Oh, camera, what were you doing? Camera was trying to force itself into the wall. It's fine, I'm sure.
Game, please, you have to just tell us where the hive is.
Do I go
We've
down?
never been to the hive, game. It's a new place you've only just mentioned. Like, where is it?
This is where we beat the Bigman.
Yeah.
This way?
Yeah, it's kind of a shame the Bigmen were only in for like 5 seconds. I liked him.
Right? We met him, and what is happening here?
Hive stuff. Oh. It's the ghost of a chain.
Hey, graphics, what are you doing?
What if I'd, Fallout 76, it did that, but it was with... There was a tiny extra screen that
Yeah,
was
I
like a
remember
ghost
that.
version of the whole screen in the bottom corner, like in the bottom
This
quarter.
place has been ransacked.
And it never left forever. It was just there the whole time since I started playing. Apparently that's just normal?
I don't know if that's normal. Also, it's bad here? What happened to my
They've all been
friends?
slaughtered. Pre-women.
Yeah.
No, not their
Is it
style.
a lumpy lady?
Yeah, we have to find Lumpy Lady. But I don't want to find her. I would like to locate my good friend Bridget.
Where has Harriet gone? She must have left a trail I could follow.
Oh, okay. So because Harriet's the source of the infection, right? So we have to, or maybe not the source, but one of the main causes. So we have to find her to inject her with the weird blood.
We think Doctor Boyfriend, Vampire Boyfriend, injecting her with vampire blood started the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember now. Do I have to go back?
It was Lady Ashbury's blood, and she might be weird too. I still think she's the big bad guy ever since the first time we saw her.
Right? Trust her. I just want to find Bridget. Bridget was cool.
Where is old Bridget? Damn. If I'd come earlier, they would still be alive.
Yeah, well, we kind of wandered around for a while.
You had to do the side missions. They were just more interesting than the main missions. I'm sorry, everyone.
What's happening here? What's up, Dearman?
Dear God.
Take not a step further, child, for you are unprepared.
Oh, is this our warning?
At last.
I
I wondered when you would show your face again. Step away. We have nothing to discuss.
Desist, child. You cannot confront the monstrosity unleashed upon this land without due preparation.
We got the cure thingy.
All right.
We got the cure. We're pretty high
But no more
level.
riddles. Enough of the obscure songs and prophecies. I ask questions, and you answer them.
My words have been as clear as crystal lakes, my child. You seem unwilling to drink, to listen, to learn.
Why did you choose me?
Only you could provide a modern, scientific answer to this ancient, mystical threat.
That makes sense. If you knew who it was, like, get the blood guy, make him a
kind?
vampire.
Right?
Try and fix all this
Contagion
nonsense.
and contamination.
This tracks.
How they
Good
course
choice.
through veins is your dominion, my child. Your choices have made you. Only you can save this land.
Hey.
Speak to me of this ancient threat.
The blood of hate.
Normally I see vampires as being like too cool to be like, oh, we'll ask them
When she
all
awakens,
what he
a
thinks.
disaster will be born into this world, for she is
I
Yeah,
guess
but
that's
this
why
is-
you made to make him a vampire.
He recognized that he had the ability, but he was
What
like,
is your true appearance?
I do not understand.
gotta
This
make
is
you a
who
little
I am.
more dramatic.
And it's one way to like
Blood.
let him know that vampires exist, I guess.
You are made of
Yeah.
blood. Surely you are joking.
Why would I?
It's blood, man.
And no, I'm not made of blood. I am blood. Blood is what I am since my birth and for eternity.
So you're made of
You
blood.
say You were blood-born.
But who are you?
Please!
Tell me
For the
your name.
PlayStation
your
4.
I am the servant of the Red Goddess and
My
protector
God.
of this land. I have many names.
Just give me one then.
There are those who call me Merdin Wild, the Wild Horned Man. But I never was a man. I was born out of blood.
All man is blood, but not all blood is man.
I'm here to stop
Understood.
Harriet Jones. She is the original carrier. The well from which this corruption flows.
I have heard you, but be wary. Harriet Jones's mind is no more.
Yeah, that's fine.
She has metamorphosed into an apocalypse. Born from, drenched in, and driven by the blood of hate.
He's got the mad blood.
What is the blood?
The guy who's the
It is the
calm,
curse of the
reasonable
goddess.
blood is warning us about.
It is the hunger, the need for blood, the will to strike and to punish, to spit in the eye of God.
Tell me about this disaster, creature. I know London fell victim to such a thing in 1666.
Can't think about spitting at
The
gods without
disaster
thinking of
is
Battle
pure
Block Theater.
anger born through blood.
As if Poseidon
Its
himself
name
reached
means
out his
bad
hand in friendship,
For
then
they
we
reappear
spit in his
when our
mouth!
queen unleashes her unquenchable wrath upon the world.
Anyway.
And
So
who
we're
is this queen?
one of the games
She
doing
is
quick
the Red
events.
Goddess, the queen
They
of
were
blood.
speedrunning Battle Block
In my
Theater,
youth,
and
my
fucking
God.
Stamper got
She
in the
was
call
worshipped
with them.
as the
And he
mother.
had no idea they'd used like half the audio that they actually used from him in the game.
That's
The more
He just shows
beautiful!
up and makes
Celtic goddess of
noises. He
war.
doesn't know what gets. He
Is
didn't
this a
know about the
ruse of
song
some
at the end.
She has been worshipped in many forms throughout the ages. The true nature
Just
of
the
the
bit where
Red
the
Queen
song
is
starts, he's like,
beyond your
"What? They
comprehension,
used that?"
alluding
That is so good. I love it when people take the Robin Williams approach, where they just kind of get in there and just go
So the
for it, do
disaster
whatever.
is some sort of accident.
Do a thing.
A disease vampires carry dormant in their blood,
Beautiful.
waiting to emerge.
That's your modern answer. But a disaster is at the same time both less and more.
Kind of want to play Battle Block
Tell me
Theater
what
now.
it is then, in your own
Kind of a
words.
good game.
A disaster
Kind of a good
is
game.
the pure will of our queen. Whenever she dreams of walking this earth, she awakes in this putrid vessel.
Okay.
I only wish to know how to put an end to this epidemic.
To perform an act so noble, you must protect yourself from its poisonous kiss, my child.
I know. McCullum used such a serum when trying to kill me. However, I have produced a more efficacious version of the antidote.
Your final task awaits you at the end of these tunnels.
I can wiggle the camera.
I've
I
known
assumed
for
I couldn't.
ages You were worthy of this challenge, my champion, Bittersweet.
Wish I could see man a little better though. Alright.
What will happen thereafter? What future awaits me beyond these dark tunnels?
Your fate, my child, and the fate of this land. A disaster is about to enter this world to smite us all and teach us humility. You are our
You're not gonna get smited. You're just blood. You'll be fine. Everyone
Yeah,
else
but
has to deal with it.
Once I've
what if he
defeated
gets
this creature,
slurped up?
Yes.
You
The
could get
threat will
slapped.
dissipate like so much.
Somebody's
You
gonna
have
catch him in
purified
a
its
drinking glass and then just shotgun the
and
boy.
then what?
gonna ring him up in a
What will
paper
become
towel.
of me?
I am no god, and your fate is in your own hands. For you are our champion.
You tricked me. My sister died for your schemes.
I mean,
I have
Jonathan.
brought suffering and tragedy into this world. I am not, nor will I ever be your champion.
Very soon you'll come to know that sacrifice is sometimes necessary. I understand the grudge a child bears towards his father and mother. Be brave, my child.
To be fair, we've not done nearly as many horrible things as we could have done.
Yeah,
All right,
I mean, fairly reasonable.
right. We killed a serial killer. We ate a landlord. We disposed of a bad poet who was also a bad man. And who else did we kill?
The people at the hospital were robbing folk.
Yeah. And the tutorial boy, but it doesn't sound like he was particularly great because I think he was the leader of the Wet Boot Boys. So
Yeah, he was trash. Oh, there's so many ghosts down here. This is a bad place.
I
It's
don't
because
like
all the
it here.
people got eaten.
They have turned back as if we're going back to the surface. But are we going back to the surface? Do we want to look up where the files are and
Give it a quick
finish that up,
What
or
the
just?
quest called?
That's a good question. We have Occult Oculus, and they are among us. We need to find. Can't tell you which of the 4 braille notes we need to find.
Oh, the gamer.com have done an article on why you find these braille notes.
Ooh, all right. Let's
Favorite
let's
website.
do it. Is that the one that was telling me why Ghostwire Tokyo was just so ridiculous?
I don't. They do a lot of articles.
Oh. Whale. I need to remember
It's
how.
just in like completely random places. They're in. I think the braille notes are on vampires.
Oh.
But it's just like random vampires you find when just walking around.
I mean, that tracks. We just have the one to do, fortunately. We found the one by the... I'm going to say the docks. I don't know that it's actually in the docks, but there are docks around it. That's the only one that I can remember.
One other than Occult Oculus.
They are among us. And we need... the fertile is the belly of the beast note.
I like this one because it actually tells you what the one's called that you need.
Right? Isn't that lovely? Yeah, trying to remember how to get out of here. I think it's down? Not that way.
Oh, I got a text of it, but I can't show that to Jonathan. You have to tell me where it is.
Website, we need locations. Specific places, please. How the fuck do I get out without having to backtrack the long way? Or is that our only option now?
Fertile is the belly of the beast should be in the house of the Goswick family in the Pembroke Hospital District. To get the key, you have to follow the burn after reading side quest.
Ooh. Okay.
So we should have the key.
Yeah.
I don't know where the house is.
We at least have a general area to look in. That narrows it down a bit.
For the braille notes, one of them is like on the bridge under the between the docks and Southwark, I think. One of them
Okay.
is in the. Oh, actually, one of them's on a corpse in West End.
Okay. That might be the one that we're missing.
You have to do a weird little teleport. I got a map here.
Hey!
Oh, I can show you where it is on the map.
I'm trying to zoom out. Alright.
I've done a DM.
Oh god, you're also...
You have to go to the... I think this is probably the one, because it sounds complicated.
Alright, let me... Oh, that's not where I wanted to put that. It's on... here.
One of them were in Cadogan Bates' house. We know we've been there. It's where you save him. Wait, no, that's not his house, but it does say that's where you save him.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it was a house he owned.
It's fine. He can't hurt anyone anymore.
It's locked.
It's locked. Sean, I've let myself back out through your house, Sean. His door's open now. It definitely was not earlier. Alright, well, hopefully it stays open.
Would be nice.
Alright. So let's do the West End one first, because I'm pretty sure that's the one that we're missing. And then...
You have to go in the dress shop in the shopping mall and vanish to the top right side and go left at the mini bridge there. I know what some of those words mean when you put them in that order, but I don't know what the whole thing means.
I think I know generally where it's talking about, but we'll probably need those directions again once we're actually there.
Something about a dress shop in the mall.
It's mall time. Why is it serious here? Oh, it's because everyone was ill, but everyone is recovering now.
Yeah,
so
it'll
it's
be
fine. I can ignore it.
Everyone just got headaches all at once.
Real. At least we have the headache gear now.
Yeah.
So annoying. So
Most
stupid.
powerful doctor in the world. We mastered headache.
We understand a headache.
I don't believe that she had the headache cure all along. You just had to
So mad about that.
get off her.
So mad. Horrible. Alright. So the mall should be right up here. Excuse me, sirs. Coming through. Nope, don't mind me.
Don't want any trouble. Yeah, this should be the mall, right?
Yeah. Whoa, is it... Wait.
Oh. We might have to kill these lads to go up.
Yeah. Okay, well let's do a stun on this man. Whoa!
Whoa! John.
Alright. One man out of the way. Two mans out of the way. Not even an issue.
You're saying that before we're even dead. You were chomping him on the neck saying, oh, I'm glad that guy's out of the way. And you
Listen.
knew we were just locked into a stun to death combo.
It was over for him. Just
It
calling
was.
it like I see it. Okay. I didn't mean to look at that. I know this isn't the dress shop, but there are
No,
things
this is fine.
here.
We haven't been up here, so this is.
Yeah, so we gotta do the loot thing. Look at all those cakes.
Eat 'em, we're a vampire.
Yeah, but what if I eat them?
You'll be
What if
bombing
I'm-
through the air like
I was
that.
gonna say, what if I vomit rocket? Can I?
He only ate a single chip.
I bet it was worth it though.
You didn't seem to think so.
I'd think it was worth it. Okay,
Pros
that's
of
the
being a
dress shop.
vampire is you get crazy superpowers. Cons of being a vampire.
No more chips.
Can't eat chip.
It'd be horrible. Honestly, that would be a deal breaker for me.
Yeah. That's the medium thing is that you can't go out in the sun, but like who do that anywhere?
Yeah, that's no different than my normal life. My
Yeah,
everyday mortal life.
that's fine.
Alright. We've got
You can't go to church because you love going to church. It's
Yeah,
your
that's-
favorite.
Braille.
we found it. We
I
found
should
it.
bring this to Mason Swanborough.
Yeah. Oh no, I couldn't go to church. My favorite thing to do. Oh, what a shame. Sarcasm for anyone who couldn't pick up on that. No, it was real hard to hear. Perfect. Okay, so we've got all of the brails.
I think
Braille.
if you're gay enough, you can't cross hallowed ground anywhere. You just burst
Yeah.
in a flame if you go in a church.
True, accurate. It's all. Like zoom in. I can do it for so
I like
long.
funny zoom.
No.
It would be nice at this point if we could fast travel.
Right?
What
Oh,
if we could just go to a hideout that we've already been to? We could just
For
wash
real,
over there.
hold on.
Could
Wait.
just go bat farm, fly on
That.
over.
Was just triple checking that there was not a fast travel option. There is not.
Would have been a good time to find one.
I thought I had checked previously, but you know,
I'm sure you did.
doesn't
But,
mean that they didn't hide it from me, though.
Just very wishful thinking.
Yeah.
What if there's a secret fast travel? I mean, this is kind of fast. We're going pretty fast, isn't we?
It's great. Is this? Yeah, this is the way I want to go. Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna be opening up my map every 10 seconds to make sure I'm
That's
heading
fine.
in the right direction. Can't zoom here!
I would be like walking for 30 seconds and then just starting to follow the Y again.
Yeah.
I would need to be able to turn the Y off or I would never get there.
Jonathan, please. You have to go forward, buddy. Just because I've exited the menu doesn't mean you need to stop running. Away we go. Just like
Tiny
seeing
baby skulls.
just like watching them kind of cease to exist. Hi, buddy. Ah, Jonathan!
She went, ow, 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 and then explode.
Yeah. Ladies do that sometimes. I
Yeah.
hear. It's just a thing that they do. Not just in video game, in real life.
Yeah, ladies are gunky and explode. This is known.
Mm-hmm. They go ah, and then blow up. Cut through here. I understand. Hey. Your barrels will not stop me. That scared me.
Just a
Sir.
guy. If he teleports in front of you, he's probably got like 1 hit point.
Yeah. Still scared me though. Wasn't ready. Also have to remember to keep an eye on the time, because we got the wrestle to watch.
Oh, we do?
We have plenty of time.
You should be able to finish then.
Yeah. Yeah, we got about 40 minutes. / we can go a little over time. It's fine.
If we don't quite finish, we definitely need to like have another game queued up for next time, I think.
Yeah. We were talking about Parasite Eve. And we were talking, and I can't remember what the other one was. I know that there was a second one though.
I am worried you won't like the gameplay of Parasite Eve, but I need you to witness some of the cutscenes in Parasite Eve. Because it has like PlayStation 1 Squaresoft CG cutscenes are already amazing always. They're like my favorite thing.
Is it you, Dr.
But
Reed?
the horror ones, they're so loud. Everyone's so loud.
There's so much happening.
It's still going on. Yeah, I think we have a winner.
Wandering in this part of town at night, you're either brave.
Yeah,
or
no, I'm
fool.
like super down to it's turn-based combat, isn't it?
Kind
like
of.
menus and menus.
You run around in like a funny little circle and try and dodge stuff while a bar fills up, and then when it's full, you get to shoot.
Oh.
Or do like a magic spell.
Well, I mean, we can give it a try. Worst comes to worst, I can just make you play it then, if your computer doesn't explode.
That's true. I can probably just about manage that.
But I'm
What
willing to
can I
give
do
it a
for you,
try. It's
Doctor?
been one that I've like meant to play forever and just haven't gotten
Why
around
does your
to
sister
it.
feel so guilty about what happened to you? Because she knows I'll never forgive what she did to me.
You run an illegal business with someone you hate?
I don't hate my sister. She looks after me, we have a good time. But I'm just not ready to forgive her.
Okay.
Here is another page
cool
of the
story.
diary we were talking about.
Ah, now we're talking.
John
Ingredients,
uses his like vampire
dosages,
mind
dangers,
powers
and
to
side
just get
effects. This is
involved
it.
in
Is the diary
everyone's.
complete now?
No.
He just learns all the
author
gossip.
tested his
That's
work
what I
in
would do
laboratory.
if I was a
We must
vampire.
find out where it was. Please, find me more pages, Doctor.
Just get all the goss from everyone.
Here is another page of the formula for the cure for blindness.
Give it to me? Yes. Brilliant. I'm going to give you the location and the code you will need to find the cure, but you have to listen to me first.
Why?
Okay.
What is it?
If you find the proof that this treatment for blindness is real, I want to try it. Do you understand? No matter the risks.
Risks? What have you read in these pages that you're not telling me?
You already know what you need to know. I trust you, Dr. Reed. We share the same passion for science. Please bring back the formula.
I am concerned about
Goodbye, Mr.
this. 2969.
I'll leave
Nice. Yeah, I'm a little
What
worried.
kind of gentleman pays visits to people?
Oh, I know know where that is.
People at this late hour.
Okay.
Oh, the vampire one. I was hoping the
Yeah.
normal guy would win.
Ah! Sir, I was trying to lock on.
He's yelling, lads.
My stamina is being stolen. Can you stop? Hey. Hey. Hey, fuckhead.
Hey, fuckhead.
I didn't know what was happening or what to do. It's bad here. Hi, Akos.
Oh, you
Can
gotta
this-
get rid of that guy.
Holy
He's eating all
shit.
your bloods.
Well, I'm gonna eat all of his bloods. He's got too
He'll
much
hit.
health.
He has like one hit stamina.
Holy shit. He said. Stop. Okay. Fuck. Yeah. I'm doing pretty alright. How about yourself? I'm very sleepy today. In like a good way. I don't know, it's been a rough couple of weeks, so I'm enjoying the fact that I don't feel like ass today. Yeah, how are you? How's it going? This way. We follow the head, not the why.
The why will lead us to ruin.
It's true. Oh, jeez. I hope you can figure it out and manage it alright. Whatever that something is. You're gonna eat yogurt about it? Perfect.
That sounds good.
Good solution to all life's troubles.
As a vampire doctor, I can say for certain this is the cure to oils, yeah?
Just eat some yogurt about it. Conversely, some guacamole or hummus is an acceptable substitute as well.
Ching,
Eat
that's
some-
the secret headache, yeah.
Just guac.
Eat yogurt.
Oh, yeah. Yes,
It could
100%.
be guac. Just eat a bunch of guac. Guaco.
Eat some dip about it.
Yeah.
That'll solve your problems. Hey, can we not spawn directly in front of me? I'm glad I've like learned how to navigate the cemetery. Remember when we got lost in there for like 20 minutes and I couldn't figure out how to get out?
I know where anything was just then. Only you know. No. But that's fine because you have the controller.
Nobody else has to worry about it.
This is no place. Steady, boys.
It's fine. I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I'm going. I'm leaving. Ah, I hate this. I should be allowed to operate doors.
The really weak enemies should just like run away from you.
Right?
To not start a fight.
My god. No, they're gonna
Especially
start a
this
fight.
point in the game.
They're gonna fight us. And it's gonna be annoying, but it's fine. I guess.
At least it was just the one. Oh,
What is?
I think there might be enemies here.
It's fine. They'll melt.
Yeah, they did not have a lot of numbers.
Just a couple of soft boys. Don't think I will.
Who
is the
just
thing.
said you'll pay for that? Who isn't dead?
Silly people. Hello. Oh. Thought I could hit him before he shot me. That was a lie. It's fine.
It's fine. He shot you
It's
for like
fine.
1 damage.
No, that goes back outside. I thought. Yeah. Oh, we're looking for the laboratory of the Brother of St. Paul. Okay. Has Dr. Boyfriend been doing weird experiments down here?
Sorry.
You're fine. That's a rat. Oh,
Trying
hi.
to mute the thing when I cough, but I missed that one.
Can't catch them all. It's alright.
I want to be the very best, like no one ever was.
Oh, hi. Goodbye.
Poor fella.
Yeah. Ah! Hi. He's just very
seen
big.
a non-gunky dog in a while.
Yeah.
Oh, there he goes.
We will continue to not see a non-gunky dog for a while.
I'm pretty sure I saw him. I saw at least a couple frames of him in there, I think.
No, there's no dog. You're imagining it. A
You might have
non-gunk dog
blinked
in
and
this
just
area?
missed it.
Oh, you look at it!
Well,
Christ! He's dead!
well,
I do really like the idea of vampires being like so stuck up that they'd never dare ask a mortal for help, and like having to come to terms with the fact that they don't actually know like science and cannot like their science is based on things that were like outed as quackery hundreds of years ago.
Mhm.
And just having to like track down a doctor and then make them a vampire so they have someone they're allowed to ask. Like, about...
You have to be in our cool secret club before we can tell you anything.
That just seems like something the what we do in the shadows people
Right.
would do.
Oh, I love it.
I don't know. There was Stu, and they didn't make Stu a vampire, and they loved Stu.
Yeah, but then Stu became a werewolf.
And
so maybe...
kind of like Stu.
Yeah. But,
Anyway. It was better when he was a human. But they're still kind of like Stu. You can still tell them how to use the computer.
It's true.
So they can do their dark bidding on eBay.
Okay,
Is-
where the fuck?
Is the door up? Go to somewhere that... Is this a helpful door?
I thought
I
this
know
went
it's gonna lead us out of the
outside.
sewers. Yeah, but maybe it leads us to like a little house out of the sewers that's got treasure in it.
Maybe.
It's just very conspicuous is the thing.
Yeah. Oh. Who's scribbling in here?
Someone scribbling? Any scribblers out? Oh, is it
I hear
just a fire?
No, I hear scribbling. Gotta be upstairs, right?
Maybe the fire's scribbling.
Oh.
Oh, okay. I think we might be in the right place.
I don't know that the St. Paul chemist is doing too hot.
No. I mean, he's just having a scribble.
Okay, door has been unlocked. It's just out for a scribble. He has stopped scribbling. No, he hasn't. He's still doing it.
Oh.
Hi, we good? Sir, I don't want to do this to you. Oh. Oh, I didn't. Okay.
Body hadn't even hit the ground. He just punched the diary right out of him.
Right? Okay, let's see. None of my recent research concerning a possible cure for blindness have reached any successful state. Fear you might refuse to answer me. Speaking about Usher, I will be forced to take my notes in Braille. Be sure to read them if my condition worsens. Blessed be Usher Talltree! Good thing my Greek and Latin are not too rusty. I'm losing patience. Terrible ideas come to mind. What if I use the
Okay.
regenerative power of vampire blood?
Hmm.
respond to something. The eyes of the two last rats I blinded seem to have retrieved sight after I injected them with a drop of vampire blood. Been unable to find some more vampire blood. When I asked Brother Swansea, who seems to be working on some research concerning vampire blood addiction, he used to give me some fresh material. Ghoul blood is less potent and permits a better dosage. Mixed with Usher Talltree's previous advice concerning alchemy and healing herbs use, I shall be able to overcome fate. I can see nasty ghoul has bitten me. Okay, hold on. I can see dried powder of ghoul's optic nerve plus essence of birchwood, combined with equal parts of helichrysum italicum are the best mix when properly heated and used the correct dilution. Make a braille copy of my notes in case the cure is only temporary. I'll kill the ghoul I have kept for all this time and pursue my research further. His eyes I had gouged for the experiments had regrown too. Of course they did. I'm so stupid. The beast had time to observe me and prepare its plan. Okay. Just wanted to, like, read that to make sure it wasn't oh, I ate this ghoul's eyeballs and, it's done this horrible thing to me. It seemed to work fine. He just was an idiot and got bit. Understood. I'm still not sure that I...
Days and yeah, but you are injecting ghoul blood into your eyeballs? That's probably...
Yeah, maybe don't do that.
Probably not great. If you, like, really don't want to become a zombie, it's probably not, like, best idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I guess we go back to Mason then.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry, wrong room. Oh, well.
Why is everyone babies here?
Oh no. I don't hate it, but
No, it's cool.
very silly. Oh, never mind.
Never mind, that's a regular sized boy.
Ma'am?
Did she do a big old flying leap at you and just dive straight into the wall a minute ago?
Yeah.
That was fun.
Well, I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah, just leave it to it.
The bloody crime!
We don't need to deal with these nerds.
What is this? Pippa Hawkins.
Oh yeah, we did that one.
Milton Hooks.
Oh
I do
yeah,
like
we
that-
did that one too.
Do you like that you can see the gravestones of the people that you've done a murder on?
Yeah.
It's kind of a neat touch. Oh yeah, did we figure out where in the belly of the fertile beast or whatever the fuck that one was? Did we find out the location of that paper? Fertile is the belly of the
Goswick.
beast.
House of the
Right,
Goswick
right,
family
right,
in the
right.
Pembroke Hospital district.
Right.
Did you know where the house was? Dang.
No, but I think it's like
Okay.
in this general area. It's the Pembroke Hospital area.
Yeah, it's true. It's not big. It's not a big little island.
Big little island. Oh, choose to do it. I mean, we'll give it to him, I guess.
Over there!
Excuse me. Coming through.
Just say like, hey, you just needs skull blood to do this. You'll want to get rid of the skull after you get the blood out of it.
Or consider doing a murder on the skull and then get the
Good
blood.
evening, Mr. Swanborough. Is
Yeah.
I
it
don't know that he
Dr.
has
Reed?
to be alive
Please
to get
come in.
it.
How do you see the world these
Bop him over
days?
the head, then you juice him.
What can I do for you, Doctor?
Juice
I have
the
found
Scowl.
the secret laboratory.
Juice him. You need the
and I
skull
have the
juice.
formula.
And the author of the
Scared.
diary, did you meet him?
Yes. He was badly disfigured. Nothing more than a beast. And I cannot guarantee it wasn't connected to his experiments.
I don't care. Give me the formula, Doctor.
I think it's.
Here it is.
Oh,
Please,
sorry.
be very careful. You're entering uncharted territories here.
This is what science has always been about, Dr. Reed. Thank you.
I feel
Well,
like
we're gonna
he's
get rid
so
of the
much.
skulls
I
soon.
can't say
Maybe
it's been a
maybe that'll
pleasure.
help him.
But you're both scientists, and I am
That'll
grateful
stop him
you
being a
asked me to
scowl.
undertake this search for you.
I have something for you.
I also
Doctor.
just worry that, like,
It is the
if I
most
don't give
precious
it to
thing I
him
have
now
to
that
give.
he knows a
Even
thing
more important
exists.
than the Swanborough
Yeah,
secret
and he's
recipe.
got
There is
well, he's
really no
got
need.
most of the research
Please have it,
anyway,
Dr. Reed,
right?
I insist.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll find it more useful than
Probably
So it's-
best he knows like how it ended.
Yeah. So I just, like, I
Goodbye, Mr. Swanborough.
don't.
I'll leave you now.
Yeah, I don't want to, like,
Wandering
leave him in the
this
dark
part
about
of the
that.
night, you're either brave or a fool.
He's gonna. I feel like he's gonna be determined to figure it out himself anyway, regardless. So let's give him everything we got.
Yeah, it makes sense.
He's a big boy. He can make his own choices.
Yeah, it's kind of that's there's that too. Like, well, no, his mom was. If he wants to inject skull blood into his eye holes, then I guess that's fine.
Steady, boys!
As a doctor, I can say I don't recommend it, but you know, you do you, I guess. Make your bad choice. Why can't I go through there? Oh, because there's nothing there. I understand. Please stop shooting at me.
Oh, you need to navigate the grave yet?
I do? Trouble is, don't usually have guys pursuing me into it and doing a shoot at me.
It's rude of him.
Yeah. I gotta stop. It's mean. Who's that? Richard Gallatin Nethercott.
Oh yeah, that's oh, fuck him.
He would have a very silly middle name.
He deserved it most of all.
Horrible poet. The things he did to prose.
Let's
Excuse
pin
me,
it
sir.
down!
Just gonna... No! No! How did that miss? Jonathan!
It'd be really nice if you could open doors while people were angry at you.
For real! Oh.
Oh. He was so busy being bitten in the neck, he didn't realize his blood exploded, so he didn't even hurt him.
It actually just made it just turned him into a gusher. We bit into him and then the blood exploded into our mouth.
He's got one out! Steady, boys! We've got
At
one
least Jonathan probably enjoyed it.
That's it! Fix this bugger!
Excuse me.
Stop! Vampire!
So
Excuse
fast.
me. Pardon me, coming through. Here we go. Just cut through the hospital. Whoa, what was that?
Die, vermin! Lead spotted! Watch out, boys!
Think-
I'll send you to hell!
It's not there, 'cause that's our hideout. Mr. Goswick, I don't remember where you live. Maybe it is that hideout, though.
Yeah, go for it.
Look, I'm helping! Just let them duke it out a little bit.
Hideout. He's in a hideout south of Pembroke Hospital.
Okay, so maybe this is it.
Yeah.
Maybe I did actually know where I was supposed to go.
What? That's the damn thing. Why are you friends? You should not be helping each other. You should be teaming up.
Everyone's hate of Jonathan outweighs their hatred of each other. Oh god. Hey. I thought I had been here before. Because I got his letter. Maybe I unlocked a different door, is the thing. Is this... Are you shitting me?
Hey!
Alright, well we found it.
It's locked.
So that's exciting.
It's locked.
And then... Where... He's in the West End. I can find him.
So
Alright.
See them fancy clothes? This one's a top. Someone
Excuse me?
See them fancy clothes? This one's a top.
Excuse me? Helped a little. Thank you.
Oop. It's not human. Kill it.
Oh.
Stay back.
Oh.
Please.
I'm staying back!
He said you were posh, is what he said.
Yeah. Ah! Sorry. There's too many men here.
Watch yourselves.
There's
There's
a
one of
couple,
them.
man. There's a man or two.
Too many men. I have to be where there are not men.
It's one of them.
My god. Whee! They forgot I was here. They had no idea.
Nice.
This... No, this is Whitechapel. This is not where I wish to be. I wish to be here. Probably.
Yeah, we're pretty close, I think.
Not in there.
I thought this was where the guy were locked in by the vampire.
Yeah.
That's
Someone's
horrible
gunking!
noise. They're really gunking.
Yeah. Didn't like it. Okay,
This is
we're
where
back
they
at the
found the bread.
mall. Yeah. Then...
Is this where the cop is, or where the rest of the people is?
It's where the cop is.
We
But
don't
that's-
like the cop.
Kinda close to where everyone else is. I do think the brothers are up there.
Yeah.
Algernon and, No, Agamemnon. That's his name.
Agamemnon. Good grief.
And I can't remember his brother's name, but I need to know. Pericles.
Pericles and Agamemnon.
What a duo.
Name a more iconic duo.
Okay, I need to go here. So we need to head back this way. No, that goes.
Oh, Seth, it's fine. This is fine.
It's fine. There are just so many guys.
Just want to avoid as many guys as possible.
Oh,
Kind of done the fighting guys part of the game now, and we just want to.
Just want to do the retrieve all the notes for all the people part. That's it.
Where are the guys?
I think it's here.
Oh, that makes sense. That looks like the thingy club, Ascalon Club.
Yeah.
And they were kind of milling about outside.
Here? It's here. I can't dodge anymore. This is how I know that I am in the correct location.
Nobody takes him seriously.
Alright, and there's our guy!
Women of all
Ayo! Hey, got all your
Good evening,
things?
old chap. Are you all right?
I won't lie to you, Johnny. I'm not a well man.
Hey!
These are the documents you wanted me to look for. I think I've gathered all the available occult research about vampires.
Oh, thank you, Johnny. Huh, that'll help me separate the myths from the facts.
I'm not sure you can consider this material factual, but it's yours now. What do you intend to do with it?
First, I'm going to show them to Venus. It'll open her eyes.
Jonathan.
Make her understand the importance of my mission.
Don't think she's gonna.
Not gonna be
believe
happy
it.
with this.
Yup.
Do you realize you are ruining your family, Clarence? Don't you see the risk here?
Money isn't important. Not important when it is a matter of life and death.
Clarence, if you
That
want
is
to know
what
about
my dear
vampires, you
Venus
can
cannot
just ask.
understand.
Just ask. You can just ask me.
People will laugh at you if they don't already. Think
Listen,
about
we're
your
pals,
wife
we're
and your
buds.
position. Think about your future.
I understand my wife's embarrassment, but gossips don't kill, vampires do. There'll be no future if people don't open their eyes.
I can't believe I'm telling you this, but if warning people is that important to you, why not choose a more efficient way to spend your money?
Don't you think I tried? I knocked at every door, went to every bank, I even tried to be published. No, Jonathan. This is a one-man
to-
war.
Oh, I came up with, what's his face? The vampire hunter?
Ichabod.
Ichabod.
You
Like,
need some
actually,
rest.
just so he knows there's, like, a dude out there doing
Yeah!
something. Even though
Well, like-
Ichabod is kind of a clown. But
He's
it
so
just,
goofy.
I think he'd feel better if he met Ichabod.
Right? Well, and it's like Louise is hanging out with him now because Louise knows the vampires are real.
Yeah,
So,
it's
like,
true.
Like, look, you're right here.
Join the
Talk-
squad.
Talk to her. She will help you. Clarence, you fool. My God. All right. Well, that's every side mission.
Just assembling a team of vampire hunters when we're actually a vampire just because we think they'd be adorable together.
Listen, they're not actually. The only person in that group that I would be concerned about as far as doing actual damage would be Louise.
Yeah.
But she knows that not all vampires. So, you know, I think she can temper the others as need be. But yeah, I think it would be funny and it would, you know, keep them from getting in too much trouble.
Why not?
Yeah.
What are you... Mother? Huh? Alright, we are about 8 minutes till 2, which is when the wrestle starts. And so I think starting main quest stuff would probably be a bad deal.
Yeah, there's probably like really not long left, but if we get stuck on the stupid last boss fight and time's running down and we're missing all the wrestling matches, that's gonna be really annoying. So
Right. So we'll save it for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which means that we will finish this tomorrow. I am gonna do
we are
a
out
level
of
up.
side quests officially.
Officially, we've done them all, I think. Yeah, give me more health. We like health here.
Yeah.
And... Big thirst? Big thirst. Perfect. And that should save. And also heal everyone up. So that'll be nice to see.
That'd be lovely.
Look at that! Got him up to healthy after being in a serious condition. Still fine there.
What's wrong with that boy?
Did I not? He's fatigued. Did I not heal him? I'm sorry, Rakesh.
You probably got new fatigue. It happens a lot.
Ugh. Okay. You know what? That's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. Everyone will feel so much better when all the vampires go.
We'll make everything so much better. But yeah, oops. Let me. Oh god. Not know how to do anything for a minute. There we go. All right. We have anyone on right now? Where is Chrome? Where is my browser? There it is. Chew is on.
Chew is on.
Otherwise, Snipe and Wave are playing some Golden Light, which is a very
That's
good
what I
fun
saw.
Let's go see Golden Light because Snipe and Wave are great, and that game is wild
I don't
and
know
meaty.
which members of the Snipe and Wave extended family is because I got an ad.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's either Snipe and Web, just Web, or Longfang and Snipe. Could be anyone.
It's got so many possibilities. Possibilities are endless. No, this is cool. Excuse me, ad. Yeah, we'll finish this out tomorrow and maybe have another game as well, depending on how long it takes us to finish it. Until then, have a good rest of your time zone, friends. Take care of your dang selves, and we'll see you later. Sorry, I had hiccups. It's important that I hiccup before I finish saying anything.
See you.
All right.